Hello. Joanne, good morning. Stevie, good morning. Lovely to have you ladies out there. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to share, discuss. Hi, Pat. Nice to have you here. Anything in particular you'd like to share or ask? It's nice when we can be interactive. Yesterday was my 3-year anniversary. Good morning, Michael. Yesterday was my 3-year anniversary of teaching live yoga classes at Torrance Memorial. March 10th, 2020, I taught a yoga for osteoporosis class. There was actually a lot of talk of the virus. I just came back from London. I arrived on March 8th, and my flight was about 70% full, which, in those days, that was rare to have flights that weren't full. And so there was rumblings, and I taught that class and came home, and there was a message sent out to us that said, we're taking the week off. And my thought was, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? What is everyone going to do about their bodies and maintaining health as they age? Like, that was my thought, was that, because I know the value in showing up and taking care of our body and how important that is. And not always, not everybody's always self-motivated to do that. So that was my thought. And then they said, we're taking the month off. And of course, we know that turned into even more than that. So 3 years ago yesterday is the last time I taught a class. And at that point, I was teaching 7 classes, had almost 150 people enrolled in the next session. Almost every class I taught was full. And I had been teaching for 6 years. So really crazy to think that here we are 3 years later. And what I'm going to say is what I've noticed, because I have to do everything, because I'm here, you guys are there, we could interact in the beginning, but then not throughout the class. What I've noticed for myself is I teach 5 live classes a week, is I definitely have a lot of strength and flexibility and range of motion in my body. I've kept that, and probably even more so because I'm actually doing everything and I'm not getting up and walking around and helping people. So what I notice though is the accumulation of that. And when I travel or when I'm walking outside, just how strong I feel. And when I show up to a posture, how I'm able to hold it for a long time, realizing that there's about 800 muscles in our body. And every time we show up to do something, we're strengthening, lengthening, or supporting an aspect of our body. So really interesting. Here we are, no judgment on a good or a not good aspect of this. No, positive or negative judgment, but just noticing it for what it is, what it means, and what can I learn or experience from this. So here we are, 3 years. Can't believe it. I believe the 17th of March was my first class that I taught live on YouTube. I mean, not ever, because I was doing live classes before, but as a scheduled weekly class. So, and Carolyn, we've picked you up along the way because Michael, Pat, Stevie, and Joanne practiced with me before the pandemic. And we played tennis for years together, but it's really nice that you're a part of this as well. So here we are. And really just, interesting, intriguing. So I'm going to go back here. If we want to say anything after, that's fine. All right, for today's practice, this is about you taking care of you, moving your body, moving your joints, stretching what you can, strengthening what you can, doing whatever is possible. Experience the challenge that each posture brings. If it is a challenging posture for you, do what you can. I'll do a little bit of movement. I'd love for you to be at a point in your practice where you could close your eyes and experience and feel and notice. That's how you're going to keep yourself safe. That's how you're going to keep yourself functional. Moving in a really healthy, functional movement pattern is important. And do your best. Leave the rest. Do whatever it is you can. Let's take out the stress of yesterday from your body, from the last 10 years, 20 years, whatever that is. I'd like to begin with a chest opener because I work with people all the time. I work privately with people. And so I'm always hearing about issues and ailments. And it's so many ailments of the shoulders from this forward position, from the seated position that we find ourselves in. So I would love to begin the practice with a chest expansion, which is what I do often. I'd like to give a couple of different options today for that. So before we do that, let's do a little self-diagnostic that I learned yesterday. I was doing a podcast interview with a fitness expert, and she shared a little technique that she does that I thought, wow, I want to share that with everyone because I think it has a lot of therapeutic value for you. So we're going to do this in a seated position, whatever is comfortable for you. Sometimes having a prop to sit on, either a block or a bolster if you have one, between your legs like this, or even for those who have knees that are not quite as bendable anymore, something like this where you're sitting on top of your heels, or come to a crisscross leg position, or put a block between your legs, whatever you can. The beginning in a seated position, I'd like to do a little self-diagnostic. This is something that I share often too with people, is ways for you to do your own self-diagnostics, to figure out your flexibility, your balance, your strength, because it's a really good gauge for you to notice, first of all, the benefits of all the work you're doing when you show up to do a practice. And then whatever you do throughout the day, those little moments you're finding a single leg balance or a squatted position in your hip joint, or getting up from sitting to take a break, all of those behaviors you're doing are going to add up to positive results. So let's learn some self-diagnostics. This one is a way to notice what's happening to your shoulder girdle. So our skeleton is skull, spine, rib cage, pelvis, legs. That's one part of that. The other part of our skeleton is clavicle bones, shoulder blades, and the arm bones and the hands. So this upper skeleton can collapse forward. This is a little way for you to notice that in yourself. So take your hand is going to be called your steamroller. And so my friend Alicia Jones, who's a fitness expert, shared this with me in my podcast interview yesterday. So you take your steamroller, and right here is your clavicle bone. Take your steamroller and go like this up. And if you bang into that bone, push your shoulder joint back, flatten this area out so that your steamroller can actually come up smooth. And keep moving your steamroller until you actually have a flat area here. So you don't have this movement forward with the clavicle bone sticking out so that your hand bumps into it. So try that, steamroller, moving your hand up, and you'll be moving your shoulder down and back, putting it in its home, activating that support of the shoulder girdle so you can actually get your steamroller to do its job. So that's one side. Let's go to the other side. Take your steamroller and start to go up. Notice, are you banging into the front of the humerus head, which is your arm bone? Are you banging into clavicle bone? And notice, and then correct, move it back so you have this beautiful place to iron out and to have this steamroller. This will be very valuable for those of you with shoulder issues, with upper back and neck issues, and with low back issues. Because when the body is managing this upper part of you in a forward position, it's going to put a lot of tension in the midsection, a lot of tension in the upper back and neck. So get your steamroller out and notice, once you do this and you're able to get a real clear pathway, notice what's happening to the back of your body. You're going to start to feel work in between the shoulder blades, work in the back of your body. As your body navigates this, holding the shoulders in place, turning on the support of the upper back. I call it your hanger. So that's the steamroller. Try that. Try to find that throughout your day. The beginning posture we're going to do is to help to stretch the parts of you that get tight, that do not allow that smooth rolling of the steamroller. So the front of the body gets short or tight, the shoulders muscles, the chest muscles, and then also the front of the spine can get tightened. So we want to open up the front part of our body. And the way to do that is supporting our body in a back bend shape. You could do this many ways. I'd love for you to try them all at some point. I'd like to show you them so that you have these at your disposal. This right here, for those that can't go all the way down or have some issues or low back issues, and if going flat on the ground is too much, having an elevated bolster or rolled up blankets with pillows underneath can be a nice support for you. So that's one thing to try. The other thing would be 2 blocks. One would go horizontally at the back, and the other one goes behind your head here. And then if you do have an egg block, the egg block could go here. A bigger opener, the egg block, it's a narrow surface that's going to support the back of the spine. There's going to be more pulling of the muscles in the front of the body down to the ground. So these are all different variations to do. The other thing you could do would be to roll up a blanket. So if you have a blanket, rolling up a blanket on its long ways, long side, and then rolling that blanket up so you have a column. So whatever you're going to do, get your props ready to do your supported spinal extension so that when you steamroll, you have a really smooth surface to steamroll. So get whatever you need. I will be doing the egg block because I really want a big opener today. For the rest of the practice, you're going to need a blanket and a block and a strap, so have those handy. And then clear your space for anything else you do not need. I think I'll use this today underneath my legs, so I'll create this wave-like pattern for myself. So whatever it is you're going to do, get yourself into that position. Make sure when you come down, you don't collapse the front of your spine. So you keep the front of your spine nice and open. And then bring yourself down onto the ground, supporting your body in the way that you need to feel the appropriate stretch. So you could have a really big stretch or a mild stretch, whatever it is your body needs. If you want to do a real big front body opener, you could bring the soles of your feet together, stretching the inner thighs and hip joint as well. Definitely a very vulnerable open position for the nervous system. This could actually expose you to some emotional things. Sometimes people, when they open themselves up like this, they feel vulnerable. You might even get weepy. So just noticing that putting our physical body in certain positions has an effect on our mental, emotional self. And close your mouth, breathe in and out through your nose. Allow the appropriate stretch to be experienced by your body. Keep arranging yourself with your eyes closed to find what feels appropriate. Mouth is closed, breathing in and out through your nose. On your next couple of inhales, reach your heart up towards the sky. Breathe to the upper chest. Feel the breath helping to stretch you deep inside. Connect to your breath. And breathe in and back behind your heart. So if you have whatever you have behind your chest, your heart, breathe in and back to that place. And if you are in a block, when you breathe in and back, feel the pressure of the back of your spine pressing towards your prop. Notice if you feel that extra stretch that can come into the chest muscles, the shoulder muscles. Do you really expand the upper rib cage? And then when you breathe in this time, breathe in and up. It's one of the ranges of motion of the lungs. Breathe in and up to the very top ridges of your lungs so they move up towards your head. See if you could feel that stretch in the clavicle bone area. And the upper back, the upper top part of your back ribs. And then take the breath to the upper lobes of the lungs, the front of the lungs near the heart, the side of the lungs near the underarms, and the back of the lungs near the heart, right, or the spine right by the heart. And try to let your mind be in your body when you do this, so you actually feel all this. Now let's bring your awareness down to the lower ribs. Breathe down to your lower ribs, the whole perimeter, the front, the sides, and the back. And feel how there's a pressure that develops in the belly down towards your legs, towards your pelvis. And then breathe down to your tailbone. So you breathe in, down, and all the way back and down to your tailbone. And see if you can feel the pressure of the diaphragm pressing towards the pelvis, and then that pressure of the sacrum and the tailbone towards the ground. Breathing in and down to tailbone into the low back as well.
Then for these last few breaths, breathe in and down the back of the spine. So breathing in through the nostrils, breath comes down the throat, into the lungs, down the spine, all the way to your tailbone. Follow the breath with your mind. Take one more breath. Bringing your awareness to your arms. Start to move your arms, sliding them. On the exhale, elbows come down towards your waist. And on the inhale, arms slide up and overhead. Maybe the fingers come to touch, maybe not. Sliding your arms up and down, mobilizing your shoulders, stretching the muscles of the shoulder joint, the chest. If you're able to let your hands slide along the ground, try that. And if you're elevated high up, let your arms hover, making sure that it feels appropriate. The farther away from your body the arms are, the more stretch, the more tension there will be in your chest and shoulder. So make sure it's appropriate. If you do have any shoulder issues, like any rotator cuff tears, bending the elbows may be a better choice and not having the arms too far away, or letting your arms be on the ground if that's appropriate. Moving the arms, feeling the stretch. Wherever it's appropriate for you, try to get as much stretch. This is very therapeutic for upper back and neck health and shoulder health, but you want to make sure you don't go too crazy, especially if you have issues in your shoulders. If you are able to come to your arms being all the way overhead, let your arms be all the way overhead. Your legs are outstretched. With that support behind your spine, take one more breath. Bring your arms out to the side, let them rest. Then bring your awareness to your head. Let your head and neck go side to side. You may have developed some tension in the neck along the way. So let your head go side to side. Close your eyes and feel this in your body. The more you feel, the less you'll think. Keeping your mind in this present moment, in the zone of feeling with this somatic awareness to manage mental energy, to give your body a break, to stimulate parasympathetic nervous system, so your body will heal and repair. And then bring yourself back to center. From here, you're going to roll onto your side. And then open your eyes if they're not open already. I had somebody join us during the practice today. I don't know if you could hear his purring. This is Carson. Got him at the Carson Shelter, so we named him Carson with a K. Very grounding for me to do this part, to keep my mind on my shoulders, my chest, my spine, yet to also have him here. It was very, very grounding. I definitely wasn't able to think about the future or the past because I was so present focused. All right, we're gonna bring ourselves up. So take your hand on the ground, bringing yourself slowly up. And then come into a position, whatever is the appropriate position for you. Do your steamroller and see what you notice here. Are you able to get that smooth move right away, or do you have to do a little bit more of an adjustment and a correction so you get that flat steamroller action? And for myself, it's a pretty big opener to do an egg block. I definitely felt a lot of stretch in my chest. And now
The steam roller is very smooth. I don't need to readjust. And at the beginning, when I was doing the steam roller, I would have something I would bang into. So I would need to correct more on one side than the other. So putting this in your healthy treasure chest of tools, the steam roller to check what's going on with your shoulder girdle, where are your shoulders in space, and doing some kind of chest expansion or stretch to stretch the muscles that get tight from that forward movement. And then for those with low back issues, that can actually be a really great relief for some of the issues that you may be experiencing in your lower back.
All right, Carson.
So let's prepare for the next part of the practice. Clear your space. The strap is off to the side. The blanket is going to go at the top of your mat. Strap and block is off to the side. And if you do have a bolster, bring that off to the side as well. All right. So we'll begin on the ground, really getting connected to our self. Bring yourself down onto the ground. Take a hand away and then bring yourself all the way down onto the ground. Bring yourself into a full body stretch if that's appropriate for you. And then let's explore moving our body and feeling our body. If you could close your eyes, great. When we're on the ground, it's easier to close our eyes because we're not worried about falling. And when you can bring yourself to the somatic, when you bring yourself to the awareness of your body, you're in the front of your brain, you're away from the back of the brain. So for stress management, somatic awareness can be very, very healing. Take your arms out to the sides. Bring your feet onto the floor. So bring your feet into a hip distance position. So we're going to do a really basic movement called knees to chest. I've been using this a lot in my work with people, whether it's for digestive issues or if anybody is in a current state of pain, to be really gentle and to release the hold that the psoas can have on the lower back. Knees to chest is one of the most therapeutic and most often prescribed yoga postures in India in yoga therapy. So you bring your knee into your chest, bring the thigh into your chest as much as you can to push that thigh against the belly. Feel how that presses the lower back into the ground. You may feel some tension right where the joint is compressing the front of the hip joint. So noticing if you're experiencing that, let your low back press into the ground. And then if you'd like you hold on to either the top or you could hold on underneath the hamstring. So depending, and then you could have the opposite leg straight or bent. So it's your choice in what your body wants to do. This is the beginning of the practice. So maybe even coming from a bent knee position to begin. So let's try that. Let's do that. I want you to notice with your eyes closed if you feel anything in your back, because one of the muscles that moves the legs is attached to your lumbar spine. So let's see if you're able to feel that, especially those of you with low back issues. Bring one leg in, close your eyes, keep both knees bent, and then put that leg back down, bring the other one in. Close your eyes. Notice your pelvis as it moves side to side. Notice the sacrum in the ground. Keep moving slowly with your eyes closed. Be in your body at your low back and at your pelvis. Notice where you feel stretching when you bring the legs in like this. Be your own yoga therapist, noticing your body. Go slow so that as you bring the weight of your leg bone in, your core and stabilizing trunk muscles have to activate. So notice what you notice there in terms of core activation, in terms of pelvis moving back and forth, side to side. So doing some diagnostics, really slowing down the practice, making this more therapeutic. Now, if you'd like to straighten the leg that goes out straight, bring one knee in, let the opposite leg go straight, and then we're going to switch. So on the exhale, you draw the knee in, pressing it to your chest, straightening the other leg. And you could inhale when you're in this position, and then exhale to switch. Draw the knee deep into the chest. Inhale, let the belly press into that thigh that you're drawing in towards your chest. Exhale to switch. When you switch on the exhale,
you're adding that support of the stabilizing muscles. That's when your core can contract and hug your lumbar spine. Go very slow here. Exhale to switch. Keep your pelvis stable. Feel the sacrum in the ground. Don't let your pelvis wobble. Inhale, let your belly move into your top thigh. Exhale to switch. Inhale to your top thigh. And then switch. Go slow. It's a lot of core work, a lot of trunk stabilization, hip flexors. If the leg straight is uncomfortable, then bend the knees. Last one. And then bring yourself to a bent knee position. Close your eyes. That was a lot of work for the core, for the trunk stabilizers. Notice what you notice here. Make sure that you're not aggravating the belly, the back, the sides. And then let's continue with this. So your pelvis is here. You want to try to keep your hip bones there, making sure your pelvis doesn't rock when you're moving. We're going to do, this is going to be core. This is stabilization work of the trunk. Make sure your lower ribs aren't flaring out. Put your elbows into the ground, lift your rib cage up, slide the shoulder blades in so you have shoulder blades for support. Then bring your fingertips down on the ground like you're holding a frosted cupcake. Let your fingertips help here. Legs are coming straight off your body. Hug your lumbar spine, so feel the activation of the pelvic floor. Feel the belly moving in towards center, hugging your lumbar spine. Inhale. As you exhale, slowly start to lift one knee up towards your chest, keeping your pelvis stable. Go slow. Slower is harder. Slower is more effective, more therapeutic. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Notice the shift when you shift from one leg to the other. What's happening to your sacrum, to your tailbone? Press your sacrum into the ground. That's the bone in the middle of the back of the pelvis. Press that into the ground as you move. Exhale to activate, to lift the leg up, to protect your spine, activate your core. Inhale to lower. Stop for a second. We're going to switch the breath. We're going to inhale to draw the knee in. And as you lower the leg down with the exhale, supporting the weight of the leg as it moves away from your body. Let's try that. Inhale, lift your leg in. As you exhale, slow down, reach through the heel. So you're activating the leg a little more. Slow down, let the leg go down, contract, contract, contract. Inhale, bring the other leg up. Exhale to release. Notice what happens in your sacrum, what happens in your back, what happens in your belly. Slowing down so we actually see and notice what's happening in our body. One more, each side. Keeping the pelvis stable. And then take the legs wide so that the heels are on the mat. Toes are off. Take your arms up and out to the side. We're going to do a windshield wiper. So keep the soles of the feet on the floor at first. Side to side. You're going to be stretching the back of your body, stretching the hips, stretching the side of the legs. Notice what happens here with your body when you do this. Pelvis is starting to want to rock side to side. Don't let it go side to side yet. And then start to let it go side to side. So that the soles of the feet are coming off now. The knees are going side to side. You're bringing the stretch up higher by the hip bone, up into the obliques, the core muscles, the stabilizers. Starting to stretch the back, make sure it's appropriate for you. The next time you come to one side, stay there, take the opposite arm off, reach that arm long, flex that wrist, look in that direction, even with the eyes closed. Straighten that leg and that hip joint, stretch that side, breathe to that side. Now let's go to the other side, come up and go over. Let your legs go to the side, head go the opposite direction, arm goes long. Breathe to that side, stretch that side. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Push your feet into the ground, lift your pelvis up, put your pelvis back down. Grab your strap, let's stretch the hamstrings, release any pulling or tension from the back of the body onto the pelvis. Draw the knee in, take the strap on the arch of your foot. Hold on to the strap. Knee could be straight or bent, up to you. Draw the leg back towards the wall behind you to the place where you feel a pretty decent stretch in the back of your body. Pulling the leg back, feel that stretch. Sole of the foot is up towards the sky. Toes are towards the wall behind you. Take one more breath. And then bring the other foot up, switch. Strap is on the arch. Arrange your foot so it's in a nice aligned position in your body. Try to feel that alignment. Draw the leg towards the wall behind you. Take one more breath. Bring both feet up. Take both feet a little wider than your body. Soles of the feet are up towards the sky. Push into the pinky toe edge of the strap pretty strongly. You'll feel that in your hip joint if you push strongly. And then you're going to guide your legs back towards the wall behind you. Feel that stretch down the back of the legs into the glutes. Feel the low back pressing into the ground. Lift your head up, lengthen your neck. Feel the back of the lower ribs pressing into the ground. Take one more breath. And then take your strap off. Keep your legs up in the air. Point your feet and flex. Go strong here. So feel the stretch on the top of the foot. Feel the stretch at that calf area when your heels go up. Point and flex. And then switch one and then the other. And then circles. Get your legs a little wider maybe. Knees can be bent if you need. And then bring your feet down onto the ground. Take your strap. We're going to do bridge. I like to do the bridge with the strap because if you have the strap around your legs, you get a little higher. You get that smooth undulation in the spine that you could feel. So I like to have that. We activate the lateral chain when we do this, the side of the body. It's really protective, and it allows the hips to be a little more free and the knees. So take your strap, open up your loop, put your strap through, or your feet through your strap, so that when you push out on your legs, you're only still at body distance. You're going to need your blanket to be away from the back of your head here. Your feet are going to walk closer to your body. So you will get a little higher. You're going to get a little more stretch on the hip flexors. You may feel this at the tendon as part of the muscles that go to the kneecaps. So notice that. And if that does happen for you, walk your feet away a little bit. The thing about the bridge posture, so we want to, at first, we'll do this where we're mostly just lifting the pelvis off the ground. We'll flatten the low back into the ground. We'll lift the pelvis off only to about the lower ribs. So we're really staying in the lower part of the body, the glutes, the back of the legs, strengthening that hip joint at the back where the legs attach to the body. Let's do that. That's really going to help you with a lot of things, a lot of aspects of healthy aging. And then we'll move into bringing that bend a little higher into the spine, trying to actually activate and bend the thoracic spine. So we're going to do this. I'd like you to close your eyes so you feel your way through this. Arrange your body so that your shoulder blades go closer to your spine, arms are down along your spine. And maybe let's take the feet a little bit away from the body here, focusing mostly on the lower body. Push out on the strap. Begin to tilt your pelvis so you feel that freedom of tilting the pelvis forwards and backwards. Notice if you feel that up in your head area, the neck area. Notice if the upper spine wants to pull away from the ground. Just noticing what's going on in your body. Arms are down alongside your body. And then let's tilt the pelvis backwards. Press the low back towards the ground, top edge of the pelvis. Exhale. Push your feet into the floor, push out on the strap. And as you inhale, squeeze your tushy. Start to lift your pelvis away from the ground, your low back away from the ground until about the lower ribs. And then you're going to lift your heels off the floor, lengthen your pelvis away from you, and try to place your spine back down on the ground, one vertebra at a time, until you get all the way to your tailbone. Heels go down. Rock your pelvis back, flatten your low back, push your feet into the ground. Inhale to lift yourself up. Lift your heels off. Exhale to place your body back down. Moving through the inhales and the exhales, noticing what's happening in your body. Pushing out on the strap, pushing into the floor, squeezing the tushy, peeling the spine away or pushing away from the ground. Heels are up, pushing the spine down to the ground from the top all the way towards the pelvis. Try to move and stretch your spine as much as possible. Really trying to articulate and stretch the spine, not something we do very often. So lubricating the spine, moving the fluids through the discs, stretching the muscles of the spine, and then activating the muscles that help to move the spine. 2 more like this. And then do your last one. Take a break. Let everything be soft. If you need to unbend and bend your legs, you could try that. And then bring your feet down to the ground. So we're going to go a little higher now. Walk your feet closer. Tighten your strap if you need. Arms are down alongside. Let's take the arms and bend the elbows. Push the arms into the ground. Lift your upper back off the ground. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Lift your head. Lengthen your neck. Toes are pointing forward. Feet are closer to your body. Exhale. Tilt your pelvis back. Flatten your lower back. And as you inhale, squeeze the tushy. Push out on the strap. Push your feet into the floor. Lift your spine away from the ground. Feel how more lifts away now, and really push your arms in as you start to lift the upper torso. Try to bend that upper torso, and then press the spine down towards the ground, 1 vertebra at a time. You can lift your heels off when you get a little lower, trying to stretch the spine. Place the lower back onto the ground all the way to the tailbone. Therapeutic spinal movement, stretching, lengthening, strengthening. Let your trunk muscles work. What's happening to your knees, to your hips, to your pelvis, to your core, to your shoulder blades, your heart, your spine. Finish this movement and then take 2 more movements. And then bring yourself all the way down. On your last one, blanket back behind your head, strap off. Knees to chest. And then bring yourself all the way onto the side. Take your hand on the ground, push yourself away, bring yourself up, noticing how you feel. So we got to make sure that we take care of the fortification, this whole center torso area, stabilizing muscles. Going slow gives you that awareness of what's going on in your body, and it's also a lot harder. Let's take the blanket, bring the blanket onto middle of the mat. Come onto the blanket. Take 1 foot back, bend your foot, straighten your leg, stretch your calf. Turn your hands so that your fingers go out to the side. Give your wrists a little bit of a break and have your hands be pretty wide. Keep your head elevated. 1 foot is going back. Try to get all 5 toes to touch, pushing through the center of the heel. And try to push your low back up towards the sky. That'll deepen that stretch in the back of the body. And then take the other leg back.
Feel your calf stretch. Head is active. And then bring yourself up. Take your wrists. Move your wrists. Open and close. So let's do more trunk stability work. We're going to do plank and move our extremities in different places, if you can. So let's look at some options. So some options of this, if you needed to be in a modified plank, you may be here, and maybe you would try to lift one leg up at a time, seeing how that goes. If you're in the full plank, you may lift one leg up at a time, see how that goes. So something so that when you're in this position where you have to stabilize your trunk and then you add something, and if you're not able to actually move a limb, visualize that you are. So visualize taking your right leg back and bringing it back so that you give your body some, that can actually be stimulatory as well to visualize even if you're not doing the movement. So come into whatever you'd like. You either can come into a modification and then start to take one limb back at a time, or come into the full variation of plank and start to lift one leg up at a time. And then maybe even off to the side if you are in plank, full plank. Lifting up if you're in full plank. And then wherever you are, come into your static held position. Pushing away from the ground with your feet, pushing away from the ground with your hands. Deep breaths. And then bring yourself down. Let's come all the way up to the shins. Take your hands, move your hands. Wrists. And then notice how you feel. That was quite a bit of work for your body, especially if you started to move your limbs when you're trying to hover and hold yourself in a position, and then you're moving yourself. So really activating the stabilizers. This could be great also for balance and for strengthening balance in your body, because it's the stabilizers and that whole coming back to center with the body, the muscles of the body, it's really important. So it can be really great for posture in the long run. All right, let's stretch our spine here. Take your hands forward, coming into a puppy dog, keeping the front of your spine open, spread your hands, push your heart towards the floor, forehead touches the ground. Feel a stretch in the front of your chest. Lengthen your spine. The goal here is to lengthen your spine. So press your belly button towards your low back. Try to flatten the low back or take that curve out as you point the tailbone back and away. And then the forehead is touching the ground, trying to be as long as you can from the tip of your spine, from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. Take one more breath and then bring yourself up. So we're going to come into spinal balance, definitely weight bearing on our wrists a lot. So if you need to make modifications, make them. We're going to come into spinal balance, which is that whole core midline. So take your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Take the left leg back. Take the right hand forward. Let the right toes touch the floor, toenails. Exhale. And then inhale to lift your hand and your leg at the same time. Come into this place where you have to stabilize your body. If you'd like to add on
Thumb goes up towards the sky, palm is in, exhale. Inhale, take the right arm to the side and then bring it back. Inhale to the arm to the side and bring it back. One more and bring it back. Stay here. Inhale, take the left leg to the left and bring it back to center. Try to keep your trunk stationary or as close to it as you can as you move the leg to the side. One more. Bring yourself back. Left leg goes down. Right leg goes down. Right hand is underneath the elbow and underneath the shoulder, so stacking those joints. Slide left hand forward, right leg back. Exhale. Inhale to lift them up. So find stability here. And then if you'd like to add on, the left thumb goes up towards the sky, the palm is in towards the middle. Exhale. Inhale, let the left arm go out to the side. Inhale back to center. Now, inhale to the side, exhale back to center. Now the right leg moving out to the side. Inhale, exhale back to center. Go slow and maintain that stability. And then bring yourself down, all the way up. Stretching your wrists. Take your hand, bend your hand, bring it across your body. Push the arm towards your body, stretch the top wrist. And then flex the hand, pulling or pushing the fingers towards your body, and then pushing through the heel of the hand away from you. And then let's do the same thing on the other side. Cross your body, bend your wrist. Push the hand towards your body, stretch that top part of your wrist. And then flex your wrist, push through the heel of the hand. And then take your hands, shake your hands. And then bring yourself up and out. So you're going to come onto the ground, doing a little bit for the back of the body, a little more stabilization work. So you're going to bring yourself forward, taking the block. Take the block. We're going to bring the block between our hands here. So take the block and bring your elbows onto the ground. Bring your knees back towards your blanket. So this is a modification of a forearm plank. Bring your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Squeeze the block. Keep your head active here. And then let's explore taking one leg back, tipping the toenails back, and bring the knee back down. Other leg back and down. What's happening to your pelvis? What's happening to your trunk? It's pretty intense, so maybe you need to stay in the static, or maybe you are able to push the leg into the floor and lift the kneecap up. Keep your head active. Definitely a lot of core work. One more each side. And then bring your pelvis down. Bring your pelvis back onto the blanket. Elbows are underneath the shoulders. Squeeze the block with your hands. Toes are together. Push away from the ground a lot with your hands so that your rib cage is moving away from the floor. And then push your heart forward as if you're trying to draw your rib cage away from your pelvis.
So the stretch here, a pretty strong stretch in the lower belly area. Breathe down towards the floor, so you're softening your belly so it'll allow it to stretch. Stretch the front of your spine. Keep your chin lifted. And breathe down to your belly a lot. That'll stretch the belly. Take an exhale. Inhale, look up, let your nose lift up as you slowly look back over one shoulder. Inhale back up, or exhale back up, sorry. Inhale, look over the other side. Exhale back. Keep your nose lifting up. Go slow. And then bring yourself back to center. Take the block off to the side. Push your hands into the ground. Draw your rib cage away from your pelvis as you slowly bring yourself down onto the ground. Take your hands, bend your hands, let your forehead rest on the back of the hands. And then breathe down to your belly, help to stretch out the low back. So we're going to do a little to strengthen the sacroiliac joint and some of the low back muscles. You want to make sure that you're pushing your pubic bone, which is the base of your pelvis, into the ground, activating the core and the stabilizers to help here. You have your right leg nice and long, lifted off the ground. The tippy toes are going to touch the ground. Exhale. Inhale, lift your leg out to side and back. Try to keep everything else quiet in your body. Try to stabilize the trunk as you move the leg away from your body. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's do the other side. And then bring yourself back. Take a couple of breaths down to your lower belly. And bend your knees. Let your knees be about body distance. Let the heels touch each other. Exhale. Inhale. On your next exhale, activate your core and lift your legs away from the ground. They may not lift very high. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale, lower. Push your heels into each other. Let your pubis bone touch the ground. Activate your core to support your low back. One more. And then lower. Let your legs go straight. Breathe down to your belly. Wiggle your pelvis back and forth, side to side. So we're going to do a little to strengthen the upper back. Make sure that your props are off to the side so they don't disturb you. So your forehead is going to touch the ground. Your arms are going to come alongside your body. Toenails touch, or the big toes touch. Toenails touch the ground. Exhale, draw your elbows down towards your waist.
Inhale, draw your arms up away from you. Exhale to your waist. So however high you lift your arms off the floor is up to you. They could graze the floor and slide along the floor if that's appropriate for you. Try to slide the shoulder blades towards each other or towards the spine. A lot of posture strengthening. One more. Bring your hands down. Fold your hands. Let your legs be wide. Let the forehead go back onto your hands. Bend your legs and let your legs flop side to side. Strengthening the back. You probably will feel your back muscles activate. Breathe to your belly. And then reach your arm up. Come onto your side. Take your hand on the ground. Push yourself up and away. Take your blanket back up to the top of the mat. Bring yourself onto your side and then down onto your back. Bring your legs as wide as you can off your mat. Do the side to side, windshield wiper, stretching your body. Let your head go the opposite direction of your legs. And then bring yourself back to center. Take your body into a fully outstretched position. Really stretch your body here. Take a hold of one wrist. Reach it up towards the wall behind you. Feel that stretch in your body. And then take the other wrist. Bend your knees, draw your knees into your chest one at a time. And rock slowly side to side. Give yourself a massage on the top edge of your pelvis. This is where the low back muscles, the tendons attach onto the pelvic bones. Bring yourself into a happy baby, holding on behind your hamstrings, wide stretched legs. Soles of the feet are up towards the sky. From here, we're going to let all that seep into our body, coming into the Shavasana, the posture of integration, finding whatever is the best way for you to end your practice today. Doing anything you need to do before you enter final rest. Take your legs long if your legs are stretched out. Lift your heels off the floor and then press your heels into the floor to try to press the sacrum into the ground to give a little correction to the pelvis, and then let your body rest. Govinde, Mukande, Mudare, Apare, Hariam, Kariam, Nilame, Kame, Govinde, Mukande, Mudare, Apare, Hariam, Kariam, Nilame, Kame, Govinde, Mukande, Udare apare, Hariyam Kariyam, Dinamaya Kame, Govinde, Mukande, Udare apare, Hariyam Kariyam, Dinamaya Kame, Govinde, Mukande, Udare apare, Hariyam, Kariyam, Nilame, 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 Kame. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Feel your breath moving up and down your spine. Let your awareness go to your torso, to your low back, your belly, your pelvis, noticing what you notice. Let your awareness go to your shoulder blades, the upper spine, the neck. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bending your knees one at a time. Draw the knees into the chest, side to side, and then all the way onto your side. Pushing yourself up to a kneeling or a seated position so we can close the practice. Hands come together at the chest. Take one fist, turn it into a steamroller, go across, see if you're able to get a nice clear pathway on one side, and then try the same thing on the other side. Bring your hands together, push your hands to your heart to your hands, long spine.
We'll close with a gentle humming sound. Exhale to make room. Inhale all the way down to your tailbone. Bowing in gratitude. Namaste. So a practice like today is potentially going to be very stimulatory for some of you with low back issues, because there is so much stabilization in what we did today, having to work to stabilize the pelvis as you move the limbs away from the body. That requires body awareness and core stabilization. So making sure you modify and you do the practice according to what your abilities are is how you're going to be able to slowly and safely build up to be able to do a little bit more, go a little farther, come into the full expression of the pose, or maybe you're always going to stay in the modification or not go that far, whatever it is. But knowing that for yourself is really important, because the goal here is to take care of ourselves, not to hurt ourselves. So when we start to do these bigger movements, or we start to test our body, we want to make sure that we're staying safe when we do that. And in the long run, that's going to be protective for trunk support, for the upper back and neck, and for low back health, and for balance and posture and joint alignment, which will reduce wear and tear and arthritic involvement in joints. Keeping our spine nice and healthy, which is also important for us and for healthy aging. All right, so I don't know if Carson, he was great for me, definitely grounded my mental energy. I don't know if you were able to notice that a lot. He was definitely a part of the practice in the beginning, quite a bit. Thank you, Stevie. Yeah, my husband has been a big help. I don't know that I could have done that without him, that's for sure. Great, thanks, Michael. Thanks, Carolyn. Yeah, I share with you what I learned because I think it's so amazing. I mean, to me, yoga is the answer. And so there's so much greatness in this practice, and I'm sharing what I'm learning and how I'm keeping myself healthy. All right. I hope you feel good. Okay, Joanne. Yeah, good. You do and that's good that you're doing what you need to do. All right, everyone. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. I hope you feel good, and I'll see you in my next class. All right. Have a great weekend.